A first in our series on hypocrisy. New York Times defends January 6 provocateur Ray Epps as, quote, a victim of conspiracy theory. That's right. How dare you smear this upstanding domestic terrorist as an FBI agent? The New York Times wants you to know this man is not an FBI agent. How dare you float that conspiracy theory? He is a domestic terrorist that should spend the rest of his life in prison. So they want to make it very clear that they're not okay with Ray Epps being called an FBI informant or activist or agent provocateur.
He just wanted to storm the Capitol.
He just wanted to storm the Capitol. He just wanted to innocently take over the United States and cause an insurrection and destroy democracy. So how dare you frame him as an FBI agent? The man is a domestic terrorist, and you will treat him with the respect he deserves. I'm confused. I really am confused by all of this. They're bemoaning the fact that Ray Epps has been accused of being an FBI agent because he's on video very explicitly encouraging violence at the Capitol, encouraging them to go into the Capitol. And, of course, at the time, he was called a Fed. I mean, this wasn't something that people came up with later. It was happening in real time on the video on January 5th, the day before the protest at the Capitol, when he was saying we should all go into the Capitol, and everybody around him started chanting, Fed, 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 Fed. So I don't know. Is this something you can do now? Ray Epps apparently is going to start suing people for calling him a Fed.
We would love that lawsuit. Let's get into discovery.
How funny would that lawsuit be? But is this something that like you can sue people to their immediate reaction to your behavior? I don't know. I don't know if it is, right? You say something like, let's go into the Capitol. The people around you go, that sounds like you're a Fed. And then you're going to, what, sue them for that? How dare you think about what I'm saying? It's just incredible. The story is at Infowars.com. New York Times defends January 6 provocateur Ray Epps as victim of conspiracy theory. The New York Times inexplicably came to the defense of a January 6 Ray Epps, provocateur Ray Epps on Wednesday, characterizing him as a victim of a conspiracy theory that he was involved in the riot as an asset for the federal government on that day in Washington. Yeah, I mean, to me, the biggest evidence that Ray Epps is in fact a federal agent is that the New York Times wrote an article defending him. I mean, come on, guys. Come on, folks. Like, the deep state, it's getting a little sloppy. It's getting a little desperate. This
is the work of a junior propagandist.
Yeah,
New York Times has had to fire so many of their other writers.
Yeah, deep state agent in training. Please show deference. It's just incredible. The Times first had to admit that Epps did, in fact, encourage people to breach the Capitol building because he was, caught on video doing so, but downplayed his role, knocking down the barriers that the paper itself reported culminated in the first major breach of the Capitol of at 12:50 p.m. Now, the not funny part about this, the real hypocrisy of this is, of course, they are bemoaning the fact that this man has had his life disrupted by the fact that he very suspiciously incited people to charge the Capitol, was put on a wanted list for the Capitol, and then was removed without ever being arrested, and his name was never mentioned by the January 6th committee. All of these very suspicious things, and his life has been ruined because, people saw this and recognized what was going on, and that's very bad. Not a single story in the New York Times about the people who have been in solitary confinement for a year for doing less than Ray Epps. Who's the real victim here? Who do they really care about? Who is the victim of the conspiracy theory? The conspiracy theory on, evidence right now is the January 6th Conspiracy Committee, who is desperately trying to draw lines between people that aren't connected and show evidence of collusion that didn't take place and establish a narrative of a conspiracy between the Proud Boys and the Oath Keepers and Donald Trump and probably Vladimir Putin. They're the conspiracy theorists, and they aren't just ruining people's lives. They are killing people. People have committed suicide because of their actions. People have, been incredibly injured and developed sicknesses in prison, being kept behind bars for a year without trial based on their conspiracy theory. So again, it's something beyond hypocrisy. It's just something like unrepentant evil that we're dealing with.